Today's video is coming to you from English, Indiana, when I visited the Gross family farm and talked to farmer Luke Gross about raising lamb, why he does it, how it benefits his farm, and how it fits into his CSA. Stay tuned for that coming up.
Luke, you just did a lamb move. Overall, lamb, how do you like them?
I love lamb. They're a really sweet, docile creature. They're a lot of fun, a lot of joy to just be around them. It's definitely a long-term project to have like a breeding flock of ruminants of any kind, even lamb, though they're faster than cattle. We bought in sheep almost 2 years ago. They were young ewes, and they had their first lambs about a year after we bought them, and then we butchered a few of their first offspring. But it is a long-term project of harvesting that grass and having it turn into mamas, meat, milk, babies, and future generations. But we've been able to almost quadruple the size of our flock, about 3.5 times the number than we started with. So things are all moving in the right direction, and we're getting more efficient with it. And they're grazing and improving the land and teaching us how to graze, teaching us how to make breeding selections. We're learning a lot. That's probably our biggest yield at this point, is just the knowledge.
You mentioned that pastured poultry, grain intensive, you got to bring grain in. Lamb, you're grazing out here. How does that fit into where you want to go with the farm? We've got about 15 acres of grass, and we're getting closer to the number of sheep that can utilize it. But we love having something that, on a balance sheet. The sheep, they eat a little bit of mineral, but aside from that and the initial breeding stock, it's great in terms of profitability, in terms of the amount of cash the enterprise needs on an ongoing basis. But yeah, it's a really slow game to bring in a small amount of breeding stock and get your flock size up and have meat to sell. It's taking some time, but it's great to be able to capitalize on a zero to low input kind of operation to be working with us and managing the majority of our land, even if it's not the majority of our profit. It's great. I think we're gonna need a lot more grass to make the ruminants be a bigger piece of our income. But we live in a land with a lot of grass. We can potentially rent in the future somewhere nearby. For you, where this is a home farm, do you see any issues with just renting a piece of land near here?
I don't see any issues. I mean, we're looking for opportunities, and we'll continue to just kind of see if something does arise that we're able to do. But at this point, we have an amount of animals that works. Even as the flock grows a little bit more, they'll be able to work on this farm, no problem. But then we may end up looking for opportunities in the next year, 2, 3, and potentially adding cattle around the same time. But we haven't found an opportunity yet. But we're trying to keep our options open so that we can do more and more grazing as we move forward.
One thing that I think people don't necessarily consider right at the beginning is winter. Mm-hmm. If you're keeping animals over winter, if you have moms that you're keeping over winter, what do you do for that challenge? I don't think you have enough land here yet to stockpile forage for grazing through the winter. So you're bringing in hay, or you're cutting hay here?
Yeah, we have cut hay. By we, I mean we have some neighbors who have cut hay, and they're Amish neighbors, and they do a lot of square bales, which are easy for me to move around. And so it's worked out well to get some neighbors to cut hay for us, and we've been able to stockpile some grass and just bypass some of the paddocks this year. So we'll be grazing well into January for sure. And then we've got plenty of hay just from our little
basically 1.5 cuttings off of our back 6 acres.
Is part of a CSA box that you sell, how do you think lamb fits in there in terms of popularity?
We get maybe 5% of people ask to not have lamb because they're not familiar with how to cook it, or they feel like they don't like more intensely flavored meats maybe. But overall, people really love it. They love having something that's kind of special and unique that they might not have purchased on their own. And each cycle, which is currently running every 4 months, everybody's getting lamb at least one time. And so we try to make sure it's a part of the boxes, but they're going to get lamb or beef pretty much every month, and then pork and chicken every month is pretty much the way it works these days.
With your CSA, you have over 60 customers now, I think you were saying, and it's a non-traditional CSA, at least in terms of how people may interpret it from a meat CSA.
Sure.
Can you explain how it works?
Yeah, you pay up front at least half. You can pay all or half up front, and then you get a bundle of meat once a month, farmer selected. We choose based off of what we've got, and there's 3 different sizes, so people can pay. The full price they'll end up paying per month will be $70, $100, or $140, and then of those 3 sizes, everybody within that size kind of gets the same thing. So we're sort of making sure that the 25 or so families that have the size small or large, that each of them are getting pretty much the same thing. So we're trying to make sure we've got the right amount of bacon and the right amount of chicken breast for that. But aside from sort of managing that and then boxing it all up once a month, it's a pretty easy way for us to move a pretty hefty percentage of our product. I think looking into 2018, if the signups keep on going the way they have, we're hoping for it to be 60-70% of our income is coming from the revenue is coming from the meat CSA.
From that CSA, is it something where somebody signs up once, they get a box year-round? Is it for a set number of months?
We've done signups every 4 months, rotating up to now, but I think next year we're going to offer just all of 2018. You can sign up for all of it if you want to. We're probably going to do like 6-month minimum to kind of make it so we don't have to do the signups quite so often. We're tweaking the model a little bit, but it's been every 4 months up to now.
And the cool thing about this CSA is, one hassle that can come with a lot of CSAs is people customize it. One person wants chicken breast, the other person wants ground chicken, the other person wants all wings. You don't do any of that. As you're saying, if you have a small box, generally all the small box people get the same thing, and you choose what they get.
Yeah, we'll work with people, and sometimes people don't like spicy sausage, but most of our drop-off points are farmers markets. So if someone says, oh, my kid doesn't eat chorizo, we just switch it out there at the market with something we have at the market. But only 1 out of 15 customers will have any preference where they'll ask for a modification. But pretty much people take what we give them, and if they have some reason why they don't, we're flexible, but kind of within reason.
What's the average sales price per pound, would you say, in the box?
I guess the way it varies from box to box, because 1 month someone will get lamb chops, and that's going to be an item that's like $19 a pound basically, and then 1 month someone will get something way cheaper, like more sausage that comes in. But what we tell everybody is that we're going to give you our retail prices, but we're going to give you 20% more than what you would have gotten if you bought at our retail store.
The 20% bonus and extra product.
20% bonus, yeah, which is like a 16.3% price reduction if you look at it the other way. So they're getting 16.3% off, or they're getting 20% more, and that's kind of the way we sell it and the way we market it. And the price per pound would be highly dependent on whether you're getting steak or lamb chops that month, or if you're getting chicken thighs.
But it's probably up $8 a pound if you had to guess.
Something in that range. Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is you're not delivering this stuff. You can bring it to a farmer's market, somebody picks it up, or you have drops.
Right.
That's another logistical challenge some people have, is how do I get it to the customer?
Yeah, we're just doing 3 drops a month, and 2 are at farmers markets, and 1 is on the Indiana side of the river, in a church parking lot, and that's about it.
One of the big questions that comes around a lot with CSAs is, how do you get customers? How have you built the customer base for your CSAs?
It's been a little bit of everything, and sometimes multiple things. This last time we bumped up from 30 to 62, and so I was asking a lot of people. There'd be somebody who would say,
like, oh, we follow you on Instagram, and we tried some of your meat from one of your CSA customers when we had brunch with your friend, and we met you at church 3 years ago, and or someone will say, like, I just got a flyer at your farmer's market and talk to you about it. But it's people who will hear about us on Instagram, search for us on Google, word of mouth. It'll be farmer's market conversations, and then a combination of those things. It's a pretty wide variety. We sort of hit it on all fronts, a little bit from like local harvest or Eat Wild websites, but Facebook. It's a wide variety of ways people are coming to it. But I think that the key for us has been the pitch to come in and say, not just to like declare like this is what we're offering, but kind of
let's say, hey,
ourselves in the
so now I'm at your farmer's market booth. I'm interested in signing up for your CSA.
Sure.
Can you tell me about it?
Yeah. We know that the meat that you put on your plate is really important to you and your family, and oftentimes it can have the opportunity to be the most toxic thing in your diet, or it can be the most nutrient dense, beneficial thing in your diet. And we offer a meat CSA that takes out a lot of the guesswork. You know, all of our food is healthy and clean and from our farm. You know where it's coming from, and we offer just a nice wide variety of high integrity protein at a discount and in a convenient way. You don't have to think about your meal planning when you go shopping. You can just bring home a box of a wide variety of things. We'll even help you with recipes, figuring out how to cook it, and we'll just we'll bring it to you once a month, and you'll have the ability to prepare healthy food for your family the way you want to, all month long.
Yeah, I like that approach of the CSA, because I mean, at least me personally, when I think about if I was going to get a meat CSA, and if I got to sit there and think, okay, how do I allocate $100 worth of space credit? You know, I might want just $100 of ground beef, but if it can't be that, if it's got to be a wide variety, like I don't want to try and figure out, okay, I need this much chicken breast and this much chicken thighs and this much lamb chops. So I like the idea of just convenience. I think a lot of times if you can take choice confusion away from the customer, it's much more appealing. Here's a box. We'll pick it out for you. You'll get something different every time. You just decide small, medium, or large. You know where the meat's coming from, so you've already made that decision, but don't worry about, is it lamb chops or pork chops or whatever it is.
Right, yeah.
There you have it, Farmer Luke Gross from the Gross Family Farm in English, Indiana. If you want to learn more about Luke, be sure to follow him on Instagram at Gross Family Farm. There you can see all sorts of pictures that he uses to promote his farm, because Instagram has been very successful for his farm in selling his farm product. If you want to learn more about his CSA, the box CSA, where he takes a whole bunch of meat, puts it into a box and sells it, you can learn more about that more in depth in the podcast that Luke and I did. A link to that below. Be sure to follow Luke. He's one of the great young farmers out there doing really cool things in livestock. There's other videos that I've filmed with Luke on his farm in the past. You'll see those coming up at the end of this video. More videos from farmers that I visited coming up on this channel, so be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching this one, everybody. Until next time, be nice, be thankful, and do the work.